Wednesday. Aurum fucking dies on AURAM'S Forum. Will the world ever be the same? Who knows? Find out this Wednesday on an all-world shattering event. Starring me, Aurum. And the show is called AURAM'S Forum. Welcome back to AURAM'S Forum, everybody. If you're wondering why I just yelled at you, we're gonna talk about this today. Okay, so the board's a little different this time. It says Aurum fucking dies on it. The reason it says that is because I want to talk about what I have dubbed extreme marketing in comic books, which essentially is what I just did. It's like false advertising / not. It's kind of clickbait in a certain sense to relate to like YouTube and internet terms, where like Marvel or DC or any comic book company will advertise their event or their book by saying like, the world will never be the same, everything changes, who will die, who won't die, find out in this event, and they're just super vague about everything, but making like outlandish claims in every fucking event is that. And this actually kind of loops back to the first unofficial episode of AURAM'S Forum, which was my rant on Civil War II issue 5 and the state of Marvel Comics as a whole at the time, and I heavily touched on Secret Wars and Civil War II and basically the summer blockbuster events being blockbuster events where everything is like a giant blowout and the world will change forever and no one character will ever be the same and nothing as big as this has threatened the earth before. And I'm just sitting over here like, bitch, calm down. Slow your roll, dude. So I have a lot and not a lot to say about this topic. Clearly, I don't like this form of marketing. It just seems dishonest to me and is just annoying and repetitive, because I'll use specific examples. I'm very, like, not aware, but I'm very close to Marvel, so I know, but basically I'm going to be using Marvel examples in this video, which is because that's all I know. Not all I know, but I haven't been reading DC long enough to have seen if DC does the same thing, but I'm pretty sure they do, just to less of an extent than Marvel. So we'll take like Secret Wars for example. Secret Wars, they advertised as the biggest event in the 75 years of Marvel history. Nothing fucking bigger has ever happened. The world will end. The universe will end. And they weren't wrong. But at the same time, fuck off. Like, the main problem that I have with this form of marketing is it puts writers in a position where they have to one-up their own stories, where every single story has to be bigger than the one before it, otherwise it's not going to be a good story. Which is not true. You don't have to constantly be building to something that's going to, like, kill the entire world. Like, you don't have to kill someone to have your story be good, or you don't have to end the world to have your story be good. You can do that, and they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you could kill someone and have it be a really good story. Like, The Death of Wolverine, where the point of that book, it's called The Death of Wolverine, the point of that book was the death of Wolverine. That's where Wolverine died, and it was very clearly advertised and marketed as that being that. But they slowly led up to it with Wolverine losing his healing factor and slowly just like giving up on the world, and then that book hit, and it was a good 4-issue arc. It was a good story that there was the extreme marketing backing it up. And even then, it wasn't like a summer blockbuster crazy event. They didn't super market it out the wazoo, like, nothing will ever be the same, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure they did at some point, but, like, and for the record, I love Secret Wars. I think Secret Wars is a great event. I think it did a lot of cool, interesting things with the Avengers and the New Avengers and Fantastic Four and all those characters. And it wasn't something that we had ever seen in Marvel before, disregarding the original Secret Wars, but it was something different. But it's just when someone, it's like if someone came up to you on the street and like a sign spinner, the equivalent of a sign spinner for like a Wendy's, and he comes up to you on the street and he's got like a Wendy's hat on, a Wendy's t-shirt, some Wendy's sweatpants, so like Wendy's armbands. He's got like a Wendy, the person face painted on his face. He's got like a wig on. He just embodies Wendy's, and he comes up to you and he yells in your face. He's like, "You have to try this burger. Once you try this burger, your life will never be the same. It might even kill you, but you'll have to eat the burger to find out." You don't want to eat that burger? No. You're gonna want to say, "Fuck you, dude. Let me live my life," and you're never gonna go to Wendy's again, because that guy left a poor taste in your mouth because you were yelled at to eat a burger. If someone comes up to me in a comic book store, throws a comic book in my face and says, "If you don't read this, you'll never know if Captain America survives or if the Marvel Universe will ever be the same," I don't fucking care at that point. Just let the story speak for itself. You don't have to just give me the premise and let me decide if it's something I want to read or not. Like Monsters Unleashed kind of pissed me off when that was announced, because it was hot off the heels of Secret Wars and Civil War 2, which I'm sure at both points were described as something like the biggest event to ever hit the Marvel Universe. And the Marvel Universe, I think the sentence "the Marvel Universe will never be the same" has been said in Marvel's marketing at least 40,000 times. And Secret Wars and Civil War 2 were wrapping up, well, Secret Wars were already done, but Civil War 2 was, like, in the middle of it, and this was, like, last October at this point. Monsters Unleashed had been announced for, like, a month, and they were describing it as it was, and, like, in retrospect, it was what I kind of expected it to be, which was a smaller, kind of lower-key event in comparison to Civil War 2 and Secret Wars. But they did describe it as, if the heroes don't put aside their differences since Civil War 2 and band together to fight the monsters, the Marvel Universe will never be the same! I'm like, dude, chill. Chill out. Just say, it's superheroes versus monsters in this new summer blockbuster from Marvel Comics, Monsters Unleashed. It wasn't summer, but you see my point. Like, that sounds cool in and of itself. Just superheroes versus monsters. Hell yeah, I'm on board. But when you come up to me and say, "Superheroes versus monsters, if these heroes don't band together and put aside their petty differences from Civil War 2, the Marvel Universe will never be the same." Calm down. Just take it easy, Marvel. I feel like I keep repeating myself, but I really want to get this point across, because it's a large issue that I have with Marvel's marketing, and I'm sure other comic book companies' marketing, and it just kind of, it also doesn't help from a outsider looking in perspective, because as an outsider looking in, you see all the things that they advertise are these big-ass blockbuster crossover events, and that's all you see that's happening. So, like, if I walked into a comic book store or was just, like, surface level browsing Twitter, and I followed some people that read comics or followed Marvel comics or something like that, and all I saw was just giant event where the Marvel Universe is never the same after giant event where the Marvel Universe is never the same, I don't want to read that, because that makes me feel like I'm just unwelcome in this universe. Like, they're constantly fucking ending it for some reason, even though that's generally not what's happening. But it's not very new reader friendly, which is, I know that's a problem that Marvel has struggled with for years and continues to struggle with, is trying to get new readers. That's why they're constantly rebranding / relaunching with new #1s. That's why Marvel Legacy is happening, which people are kind of saying is like a DC rebirth, but not entirely. That might be out by the point this video's out. I don't know. But it's a mess. And so I guess I could kind of touch on the current event that's happening or has happened. I don't know when this comes out. I record these way in advance. It's kind of the point of the show. But Secret Empire is a thing that happened / is happening right now. I'm pretty sure it's still happening at the time that this video is going up. It just started at the time of this recording. But that is an event that wasn't super extreme marketed. It was to an extent, but it was more so just everyone knew about the Hydra Cap reveal, and everyone knew that eventually it was going to come to a head. So the marketing for Secret Empire was more so, instead of just like, Captain America's a villain now, the world will never be the same because he's going to lay waste to the entire Earth, it was more so just, Captain America finally reveals that his Hydra and his plan comes to head. Sorry, guys. Find out what happens next in Secret Empire. This summer is Blockbuster, which is just better. That is an idea that just superheroes versus monsters, it's a fun idea that speaks for itself. You could do this with any book. With Secret Wars, you could say something like a universe-ending threat, which is already a bit much, but you could say a universe-ending threat is finally taking its toll on the Marvel Universe, and it's up to Doctor Doom to save it. What the fuck? That's crazy, right? You hear that and you're like, hey, I want to read that. Doctor Doom, he's responsible? He's a villain. What? Crazy. And then you want to read Secret Wars because you're like, what the hell is going on here? You don't have to say the biggest event in Marvel Comics history of the 75 years ever made. Nothing will ever fucking top this. When like a couple months pass, and then you're like, Civil War II, the biggest Marvel event in Marvel's history, 75 years of history, nothing will ever top this. You're like, wait, but what about the last one? Is that one just like trash now? No. Chill out, guys. Just calm your tits a little bit. And I think this is kind of where the problem lies with this extreme marketing thing that events are doing, and just Marvel and comic book marketing as a whole, is you never really see you never really see advertising or marketing for books that aren't events. And if you do, it's very small and hidden away in like Marvel's news section or just occasional tweets. Not like, I barely even ever see tweets that are advertising just new books. Like, I see more ads for books from Comixology than I do from Marvel and DC, which is shitty. Like, and I know they probably don't have the biggest advertising budget in the world, but maybe they should take, like, especially in Marvel's case, maybe they should take the time, effort, and money that they're putting into, like, releasing 16 books a week and cut down on that a little bit and devote more time into the advertising. Because you don't see much advertising on DC's side, but DC is doing way better than Marvel is right now. I'm pretty sure in terms of sales and in terms of just better stories. And they're releasing less, but the advertising seems about the same. But I mean, I want to see more ads for books. Like, a new story arc starts, get someone to make a motion comic trailer like you do for events, and make it for that new story arc. Like, I'll use the latest all-new Wolverine story arc at the time of this recording, where Laura Kinney... here, I'll try and sell this to you as if I think Marvel should. A mysterious alien crash lands on planet Earth, and the one thing she says before passing away and infecting all residents on New York Island: Laura Kinney. What does this mean? Find out in all-new Wolverine issue. That sounds fun, right? An alien crash lands, kills like 6 people, and all she says is Laura Kinney and some shit in an alien language that no one understands? What the hell? Make a motion comic for that. Make a motion comic out of the first issue of that story arc and make it like a YouTube ad. Put it on your YouTube channel. Have some... I know they've done this in the past. They've had comic book YouTubers put it on their channels and advertise it around a little bit. Do that. So people, like the mainstream people, would get a... And I'm approaching this from like a YouTube thing because that's what I know. So I know as a person who... I mean, I have YouTube Red, so I don't see ads a lot. But when I did, if I saw like an ad for a comic book before I watched that, before I watched a video, and it was interesting to me, like, keep it under like 30 seconds so that it's not super long. But like a 2-sentence premise summary analysis thing of the of this new comic book story arc to get someone hooked into it and be like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. And presenting it in a motion comic format really makes comics come to life, and with sound effects and everything. And they do this all the time with their events, but they never do it with smaller books or just like ongoing series, and that sucks. especially for like the smaller books that nobody really pays attention to. And you could even make some for just like general, like if the current story arc doesn't have a huge hook, you could just make one for a character. Like to try and save Silk's book, they could have done something like what's been happening, or the story so far in Silk, and been like, did you know that the spider that bit Peter Parker also bit another one-person girl? She's here now. Check it out in the pages of Silk. Dun-dun-dun. That'd be cool, right? See that at the top? Be like, whoa, hey, who's this Silk character who's making out with Peter Parker on the roof because of animal instincts? Don't do that, Dan Slott. Why are you doing that? But yeah, that seems like fun to me, and I would love to sit down with like the head of advertising at Marvel and just honestly pick his brain and see, like, is it a budgetary issue? Is it just they don't see the need for advertising? Clearly they are trying to find a reason for why their books aren't selling so well, even to the point of lying to the public of diversity being the problem, which is not true. But that's a whole other issue. But yeah, I would love to pick the Marvel advertiser head boy's brain and see what he has to say, or she. I don't know who the hell runs advertising over at Marvel Comics. Who's to say? I don't know. I think personally, as an avid comic book reader, and even as like someone who has gotten people into comics by just giving them like a 2-sentence summary of the story or a 2-sentence premise of a story, and they've been like, wow, that sounds awesome. If I could show them like a 30-second motion comic that just has like the first few pages and like an epic narrator narrating over it in a world, shit like that, I feel like I'd be hooked. I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll read Squirrel Girl now. If you actually, I probably would never read Squirrel Girl even if there's a dope motion comic attached to it. Maybe I would though. Who the fuck knows? Do it, Marvel. Prove me wrong that you don't suck at marketing. And stop yelling at me to read your comic books. Just tell me what's gonna happen. Just give me the premise and I'll be on board. You make trailers for movies. I know that's a completely different area of your company, but like, it's not even the same company, but still, make trailers for your comics. People love trailers. People eat that shit up. Don't just let comic book YouTubers and comic book stores advertise your comics for you. You gotta do it yourself at a certain point. I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe they do make motion comics for every issue ever, but I don't know where they put them because I don't fucking see them. So, who knows? All I'm saying is when I get more ads from Comixology than Marvel and DC about new comics every week, there's an issue somewhere, no pun intended. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on extreme marketing. That's not really, I just kind of came up with that term. And just like Marvel's marketing and comic book marketing in general. Yell at me on Twitter about this, Andrew as well. Don't yell at him about it. Just tell him that he's great for editing these. He's the editor. I've mentioned that many times. But yeah, thanks for watching. Talk about all that in the comments. Maybe do some. I honestly kind of want to make like a motion comic proof of concept thing for this. Which motion comics are something that I've always wanted to do. But just go watch like I know they had one for Civil War 2. I'm pretty sure. A motion comic for it. They had one for the Ironheart series. That was cool when Ironheart was starting to pick up. So what the fuck, just do it for more books. Get me interested in your comics, Marvel. I'm trying here. Anyway, thanks for watching again. Talk about marketing, Marvel, everything in the comments. Maybe just talk about like the US stock market right now. It's up to you. I don't control those comments. I mean, I technically do, but you could post it, and if YouTube doesn't mark it as spam, it'll probably be there forever. So do that. Anyway, bye-bye.